Our next speaker, Renuka Ramnath. She's been an advisor to WinPE, the founder, MD and CEO of Multiples Alternative Asset Management, a private equity manager and advisor to funds of $1.5 billion. She has over 30 years of experience in the Indian financial sector across private equity, investment banking, and structured finance. Renuka successfully built several businesses in the ICICI group, including investment banking, e-commerce, private equity. As the MD and CEO of ICICI Ventures, she led the firm to become one of the largest private equity funds in India. She's the board member of MPIA, the Global Industry Association for Private Equity in Emerging Markets, and the first woman chairperson of IVCA. Renuka has been featured in many prestigious listings as well. The list goes on. Welcome, Renuka.
Thank you, Rochelle, for that generous introduction. So, after such a brilliant presentation earlier in the evening, starting with Stephanie, Anita, and Ken, I really don't have much to add. Quite honestly, I just feel like going back and start to work on all the excellent suggestions that have been made by the earlier speakers. I'll probably in 5 minutes set the context for the Indian reality on diversity. The good news first is that the participation of women in education, so when it comes to women graduates who are choosing science, technology, engineering, mathematics subjects, is almost 50%. It's 43%. There are 42% women who go on and become a PhD. There are 27% women chartered accountants. And in a more recent statistics, in the top 6 management institutes in India, the class of 21 would have close to 34% women. These are fairly impressive numbers. But if we go to the right side, which is the not so pretty picture of India, we have just 7% in PEVC industry. We have only 6% of a representation by women who chair boards. Women in listed companies is a dismal 3%. And women's involvement in the financial sector activity is 17% and so on. I don't want to read out all the numbers. But the question is, where are we dropping them in this ladder? You know, at the entry level, we seem to be doing quite okay, but we are losing them from the workforce somewhere along the way, to the point that a very, very insignificant percentage actually hold on and get to the top of organizations. So what do we do with this? I mean, I was just thinking about it. I said there are 3 responses that we can give to this issue. One is of indifference and say that, well, it is what it is. We are doing our best, and this is where we have landed. With time, things will improve. And beyond a point, I don't want to be fussed about it. The second response can be one of hopelessness, that despite trying so hard, why is it that we have such dismal results? Maybe we are pushing water up the hill, and I don't think any amount of effort is going to lead to any more significantly positive results. The third can be actually going into an inquiry mode and say, why should this be true? You know, can I peel the onion and understand as to why this should be true? Before I get there, I first want to rest the case as to why we cannot put our head on our pillows and sleep comfortably with these ratios. All of you know that in India, our government has set a very lofty target of achieving a GDP of $5 trillion. I don't want to argue about the date. Will we get there by 2030? Will we get there a little earlier? it is a formidable task to be accomplished. We know that at this point of time, there is tremendous confidence in the Indian economy in terms of its growth rate. Hopefully, we will find financial capital from the rest of the world to come here to fuel our growth. But all of us know that the financial capital needs a matching human capital to make the transition of the growth and actually providing employment and creating a vibrant economy. From where are we going to produce that human resource that is required for this translation of financial capital into real goods and services? If we have this well educated, well trained, well intentioned women talent, which is raring to give to the economy, can we pay attention and to so many wonderful messages that can left behind, looking at unconscious bias, looking at policies, in terms of where is it that we have missed the point, that we have lost this talent which is not able to contribute to the growth of this economy. So going back, I would say that it is very, very important for organizations to realize that left to itself, it is not going to happen. All these years, we had left it to itself. We said that at the entry level, we are bringing in girls who are at least as competent as boys. And we are, even for a moment, if we assume that they are given an equal opportunity, they are dropping off somewhere in the middle. And that's what it is. That will not work. I think that it is important for corporate India to realize that there are certain things biologically different for women and through years of conditioning which are different. Women will bear children. Women will feel highly responsible for the home. If there is any crisis, any demand of time at home, it will always be that the woman puts up her hand. It's going to be very, very rare that it is going to be equally split between the man and the woman, or unequally split that the man puts up his hand and says, let my spouse go and attend to her work. So we have to recognize these two factors. We have to dig into our policies. To Ken's point again, he articulated it beautifully. Somewhere when these corporate policies were written, however, number of decades back, I think there is an unconscious bias that has crept in, which has been therefore kind of written for the men workforce and not for women workforce. Stephanie talked about how COVID has a potential to create a generational damage, because of the demands that women have had because of COVID. So COVID has also taught us that, flexibility is a big deal. And with embracing technology, as both Stephanie and Anita, emphasized, it is possible to make the workplace a flexible workplace, which is accommodating both men and women, so that we bring back many of this talent that we have lost along the way into the workforce. But that's not enough. We need to keep the ones that are coming into the workforce and not allow them to drop out somewhere in that ladder. And we need to fix these percentages and get them to almost 50-50 in the ensuing years. And I think a very, very hard look for each and every company into their policies and giving a fundamental new look and not a relook, not scratching the surface, not tweaking on the fringes, but fundamentally redesigning the workplace that allows for women to continue to contribute while they raise their children and keep their homes would make a very, very big difference. I think the initiative of WinPE is a highly commendable one. When Nupur shared this idea with me little over a year back, I was instantly supportive. I'm, for one, has to be in a family which has been very supportive of women continuing with their career. But I know very, very close to my heart that I'm probably in that very small minority of people who get so much support. And therefore, any initiative that allows for women to continue and have leave a mark for themselves is something that's very dear to me and the firm that have built multiples. But what Nupur has done is truly commendable. In just 1 year's time, and that too a COVID year where physical interactions have been absolutely impossible, she has rallied the entire industry, men and women, to participate in this initiative from their heart and not to just check a box or look cool that I'm also part of this diversity agenda. I do participate in many of her advisory sessions, collegiums, and the involvement is so complete from both men and women who are committed to this industry, and therefore the hope and aspirations that WinPE can have is indeed, very, very lofty. The beautiful thing about private equity business is that a multiplier effect of our impact. On an average in India, we support about 2,000 companies every year. If each of us committed that this is a very, very important agenda for our economy to flourish, for us to create those jobs and make sure that the youth of India have a hope in future, and we all feel proud to have done our best within the capacity, within the impact, within the influence that we have, we will be impacting 2,000 new companies every year and whatever stock of companies that we have. And those companies will then become role models as showcaseable examples who would then create their own ripple effect in their own geographies, in their own concentric circles of friends and other companies in the industry that they can influence. So the ripple effect of the diversity agenda that the private equity industry can bring is indeed phenomenal. And I, on this very happy occasion of 1 year or completion of WinPE, besides congratulating Nupur and her team, I want to say that this is a very, very important initiative. You've given it the right push. You have made it very comprehensive from the presentation that you made earlier. It is not just about shouting from the rooftop. It is bringing in partners who are committed. It is providing training. It is providing sharing. It is bringing in mentors. It is giving classroom training. So it's a very comprehensive approach to fulfilling the diversity agenda. And I'm very, very confident that if we keep this momentum, this conviction, and this commitment alive, we will get to a very significant shift. We may not get to a 50% in the next 10 years, but I'm sure the 3% that we saw in private equity industry can certainly go to 25% at least, and there can be an all-round impact. So congratulations and best wishes, Nupur, and we are there with you, rock solid in your initiative. I just want to leave this thought. This is what I personally believe, that I don't think a company which has not embraced inclusion and has had a equitable approach will be an admirable company, will be a desirable company. I don't think it will be respected by society. I don't think it will be able to attract talent. And therefore, this is not something that's nice to have or nice to speak about. I would think that we are already clearly in this journey of, only these companies would survive, and clearly we cannot ignore half of our population from the talent pool, as I mentioned at the outset, if we want to double the GDP of our country in as short a time as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me. Yeah.
Thank you, Renuka. Your insights were powerful, and hopefully, the right side of that presentation, those numbers start looking good in years to
Yeah.
come. And probably when PE will play a very important role in that. But before I let you go, let me ask you the question. If you had the power to change one thing in favor of gender diversity, what would it be?
So almost everyone today spoke about anything that gets measured gets done. So I would like to say that, first of all, I'm very impressed with the progress we made on women on boards. With the Government of India structure that every listed company should have at least one independent woman director. Uh, and even speaking purely about my own journey, I joined one of the public company boards as an independent member. Very quickly became the audit committee chairman and then the chairperson of the board. And then when I look around and talk to people and look at the impact, I think it has been quite profound. So I feel that if by statute we make it mandatory that companies present their diversity data to their boards and make it public, and also share a 5-year and a 10-year plan with their board and get measured as one of the important matrices by which they are judged for performance, we would probably achieve this journey, quite surely. So I would
That's
call for measurement and disclosure. I would not immediately jump and insist that they should get to 33% or 50%.
yeah.
Initially, I would simply say, present what you are, make it public, give a plan and stick to it. And let the board, which has diverse set of people, responsible people, make sure that these companies are taking stretch targets on diversity and inclusion.
I agree with you, Renuka. I think it's all about disclosure at the start, at least, and then pave the way like we do a business plan, right?
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Renuka. Always a pleasure having you.
Yeah.